Hello everybody, Darren here, and welcome back to episode 6 in my second Let's Play series for Anno 1800. This episode is a little bit different. We'll sort of be taking a break from what we're currently doing in our campaign and instead focus entirely on the new DLC that just came out today, Docklands. I've just activated it in the campaign, so in a few moments we should be given access to it, so let's begin. Of course, you can hear the rip-roaring soundtrack in the background. There we go. Docklands pull world into new era. Hans von Schlong lays foundations for revolution in seafaring infrastructures. Glimpsed plans for the new Docklands hint at intricate and unparalleled new compounds weaving a sprawling harbor complex capable of taking trade to a new level. Alright, so Captain Tobias should welcome us.
Novel business this is. So let me show you how to arrange trade contracts and build up your docklands.
Awesome. So he offers to help you build up your docklands. Let's take his help. Tutorial, raising the docklands. So Captain Tobias tasks you with building a small docklands aggregate. You can now build docklands. They allow you to export and import goods to and from global trade corporations and build compact harbor modules with different functions. The docklands can be built by accessing the Artisan's Harbor Construction Area menu. And the docklands must be built in your harbor's marked water area. The docklands main wharf may only be built once per island. The docklands are designed to optimize trade and harbor logistics. So, before we begin, people have actually been calling for me to redesign my dock area for quite a while, so this is perfect DLC for us to be able to do that. So just really quickly, I'm just going to copy and paste some of our storage over to this side while we're redoing some things, and then I can guide you through it. Now, I've actually played this a little bit already on a stream, so I kind of know how things work, but I thought we'd activate it freshly in our campaign here for the first time and kind of walk you through everything in terms of how it's kind of revealed to us, you know, step by step, rather than just jumping into the deep end where we've everything activated already. Alright, so the first thing you'll notice with the Docklands main wharf is that it has 100 storage on its own, and it adds attractiveness, 150 to the island. You can build one per island, and you can build them on as many islands in each session as you want, so one on each island is totally fine. But we're just going to stick with this one for now. I might build one down on my production island. I have an island here. I'm guessing that some people may find this video that haven't been watching the series, which is totally fine. I'll keep you abreast of what's been going on, but essentially Lusk is like my production island, right? Nobody lives here, so I'll probably end up building a Docklands here and walking you through what we can do there. One of my goals, I think, for today's episode is going to be to largely remove this kind of brewery area with our Docklands, right? With the trade contracts, we should be able to import beer without ever having to make it ourselves. So later on, I will pause beer production completely and see if we can handle it. But did I copy all four? I did. Let's just get rid of these now. All my hard work gone. I'm just going to get rid of all these piers as well. You might think that's devastating, and in some ways it is. It might cause a bit of a backlog for a while, but it shouldn't be too bad in a while. Alright, we'll get some of these guns and things like that. We're not going to be at war for a very long time, so let's just get rid of this. Right, so if we were to put down our Docklands main wharf, it actually comes with a built-in Harbor Master office, and you can see that its radius is about, I'd say maybe 33% larger than the existing one. I don't know the exact numbers on that, but it looks there about like a third bigger. And it can actually stack, but I'll try to not get ahead of myself here. So let's just get rid of this. We don't need these items. Take these items away, and we'll just get rid of that.
An explosion in one of your factories.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
A fire broke out.
It's totally fine. Alright, let's clear this. And yeah, I had this before, so I'm actually running a new patch. This would be the latest patch for Anno 1800 that's coming out today as well. So we've got a bunch of different things going on, and then we also have the Docklands Ornaments as well. Now, again, maybe we'll just get to the actual wharf before we look at that stuff. So, Docklands main wharf, let's slam it down. Oh, sorry, I didn't get rid of the other Harbor Master office. Slam it down over here. We can just move it later, but we'll just put it down right there for now. The Ocean Wharf. Alright, so raising the Docklands is our next thing to do. Let's just make it morning. Alright, build modules to add features to your Docklands. Some modules have functions you know already, like depots and repair cranes. Here, they are more space efficient, however. Build modules that... Yeah. Okay, so this is your main interface for kind of dealing with your docklands, right? So here we have depots, piers, repair cranes, harbor master, loading wharfs, and export offices. And these are all modules. So forget about the piers that we already have, forget about the repair cranes we may have, or harbor master offices we have. This is all just related to this one building, so it doesn't factor in anything else on your island, okay? It's just what's there. Modules can be built anywhere in your harbor area without needing a connection to the main wharf. Modules directly connected to the main wharf without roads will, however, provide an attractiveness bonus. So essentially, we could build, let's say, a depot module over here, but if we connect it to the main building, we actually get an attractiveness bonus. So every module has a bit of attractiveness baked in. So this one has 15. In fact, they all have 15, I think. Yeah. So this one has 15. Now, so here's what's kind of interesting. You'll notice that normally a depot, let's just blueprint that there. Normally a depot is 3 times as big as the depot that we can build on the Docklands, right? So here's a comparison, right? So we have, goddamn, these ships, they're everywhere. Essentially, one of the modules for a depot can store 100 tons of items, right? So 100, whereas a normal depot can only store 50, and we are 1/3 the size. However, we need to have a free bit of harbor space. You can see right here, obviously, that bit needs to be free, yeah? But they can actually double up, so you could have it like this if you wanted to. So it doesn't matter if they cross each other's paths, unlike normal kind of harbor items. So in a way, you're kind of getting 200 storage for the same size as 50 storage was before, there or abouts. So pretty good. You can it's a way to build much taller within your own coastlines. So let's just get rid of that, get rid of that, and let's start. So let's begin with getting some storage. So I know that if we just build, we'll turn off blueprint mode, it's fine. One there, and one there. That's given us 200 storage. So that means now we can get rid of this. We don't need to, but just as an example. Now, the Docklands itself actually has a loading bay, right? Ships will come here and pick up stuff. And then over here we have the
trade contracts. The rum of it is that the more often you use the same trade contract, the more profitable it becomes.
He's kind of getting ahead of me there, Captain Tobias, but I guess we could take a look at it really quickly. So, essentially, here are your potential export goods. Hover over one to see how much of it you have already exported. It's export volume. You've exported nothing yet, so the current export volume is 0. So if we were to look at grain, for instance, export volume there on the bottom, 0 out of 1,000. As we export it, once we get to 1,000, we can then put it into a specialty slot where its exchange ratio will be increased. So all of your items count as just 1.0 exchange ratio. Now obviously, listing something like pocket watches is more valuable than something like coffee beans. It'll exchange for better, but its default ratio just for itself, for its own good, cigars on its own, let's say, its exchange ratio is 1. So let's say with cigars, let's say we wanted to get potatoes.
The epidemic spreads across.
So people who've been watching my series know that we're having trouble in the Arctic, and that's fine. So let's say that we wanted to get to 200 potatoes, or let's say 100, right? So we can see that 3 cigars traded will give us 100 potatoes. Now, if we were to shift 1,000 cigars overall, that means then our exchange ratio would go up to 1.2 if we were to drop it into a specialty slot, which would mean basically instead of getting 100, we could get 120 for 3. You know what I mean? So it just levels up. Then when you get to 2,500, it's going to go to 1.4, 1.6, and all the way up to 2.0. Now, obviously, you can only have one good in this slot, so you probably want it to be your best good, which is probably going to be something like steam carriages. Or you could just really heavily specialize an island to output something, and then get twice as much back for it, whatever it is you're exporting. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, like I said, so we'll just leave that off for now. So over here, you can see all of the available import goods. Some are locked. Hover over them to find out how you can unlock them. Sorry, I just forgot to mention as well, you obviously may have noticed in the tooltip, as you get specialties, you also give your Docklands more modules. So if we get any of our goods up into the first specialty slot here, we'll get 2 more depot slots, we'll get another pier, an export office, and a loading wharf. So you're incentivized to actually try to specialize some things, build them up, and shift a certain amount. So once you get to 7,000 of any one good, you've probably gotten almost everything then. in terms of module space. And modules don't cost influence. You just pop them down. They just cost their building materials and give you attractiveness. In fact, if anything, they earn you money. So it's pretty good. So over here you can see all the individual import goods. Some are locked. Hover over them to find out how you can unlock them. So there's a series of these kind of like made-up companies. They're not random. They're preset, and they're always the same. And they're not AI based or anything like that. So destroying an AI or having no AI in the game doesn't affect what goes on with these things. This is purely a single player, personal kind of focused thing. In multiplayer, it's, I believe, individual based as well. But if you're playing co-op on the same island, then you share it. Anyway, this is the export-import contract. Yeah, we know. I'll explain that. That's fine. Thank you, Captain Tobias. All right. Let's see what else he's going to say before we move on. So basically, you can't get everything immediately, and not all goods are in the game here, you may notice. A lot of goods are, but not everything. For instance, you couldn't get gas, you can't get oil. There's certain other kind of goods you just can't get. So, if we have a look at Tattershire Farms, deal in the best tradition, solid, flavoursome fare, ripe with the relish of centuries of skill and good old hard-worked land. So, Tattershire Farms are obviously dealing with kind of agricultural products or farm products, based products. If we wanted to, say, import peppers, so let's say we wanted to, you know, put out, I don't know, grapes and get peppers in return, we can't do that yet. The required goods, we must have already sold 180 goods of any kind, and then this will unlock. Different companies have different requirements for that. For instance, if we ever wanted to bring in coffee, we need to have exported 1,800 chocolate. And because I'm kind of in the late game stage of a campaign, we actually have the potential to do that relatively easily, actually, in some ways. So we can definitely work towards some of these. Now, the one I'm going to be trying to aim towards in this video, I don't know if I can do it in one video or not, will be beer. So beer is here. It's part of the Feudal group. Thrift and abundance are the foundations upon which Feudal thrives. Affordable fare for all, everywhere. So to get beer, it's going to require us selling 702 sausages. Very specific thing, but there you go. Once we do that, this will unlock, and then we can do it. Now, you may notice the exchange ratio on this good is 1.4. That's the company's exchange ratio. It's not my exchange ratio. So basically, it's saying that you're not getting the best deal for beer, and you can never change that. It's always going to be listed as a rare level. You can see that it's color coded, right? So white is just common, green uncommon, blue rare, purple epic, and that's as far as it goes in terms of goods. We're able to get one all the way up to legendary. As far as I know, the AI never did, or the kind of companies don't have anything like that. So basically, what does that mean in terms of export exchange ratio? It means that if we were to put beer up, let's just test it out. If we go to consumer goods and we list beer, and I don't know, let's say we want sausages back. Let's get this to 100. Actually, let's put this at 100. So the complexity of each good defines the exchange ratio, right? So obviously the more complex it is, the more we'll get back. Right now, 100 beers gives us 346 sausages. If we were to put in light bulbs instead, it's 1,190. So that you can see how that works pretty easily. I'll talk about overflow in a second as well, which is kind of important. So your exchange ratio is there. You can hover over it as well if you just want to see roughly the exact amount. But anyways, so with beer here, our exchange ratio is 1.0. I'll just leave that because I just explained all that stuff. Our exchange ratio is 1.0, which means we're getting 346 sausages. Now, if we were to put in their beer here, and we were to put sausages here, we would have to give them something like 500 sausages, you know, because their ratio is 1.4. So their value of their beer is just higher than ours is. But obviously, if we built ours up, we could bring it up to specialty. Ours would be 1.4 as well. So hopefully you understand that. We'll get out of this screen now because it's a little bit, we're kind of dealing with stuff that we don't need to see just yet. So one of our goals here is to build 3 Docklands modules. So let's get another one on the go. I'll just keep adding the storage for now because that's actually going to be really important for us. And I'm missing steel beams. Can't believe it.
New orders.
It's alright. Just head down to the list and pick up any extra steel that might be down there. Alright, anyways. Boom. Now, you might be wondering as well, is there any different looks to these buildings? There actually isn't. There are 4 different styles, but they're based on, similar to like, if you think of an engineer district, right? it's going to be either one's a corner, a T-junction, or just a regular module, or an end module, right? So that's kind of how they look. Yeah? So pretty straightforward. So it's one style for all, but it's just dependent on whether or not it's going to be like on a corner or not. For instance, if I was to turn this now to T, and so on. Alright, cool. So that's our basic, that's just all storage. So that's after giving us 300 storage. What we also need, we got rid of some piers, right? So I guess I could teach you about the loading wharf and the exports office. So the loading wharf is basically going to speed up all loading that happens at your docklands. So right now, we just have a 0% modifier to our loading. And I think the, standard loading is 3 tons per second, something like that. I think it says it somewhere. It should be the same as what you have here. This is 2 tons per second, so I think it's the same as that. But we can modify that and make it go really, really fast. So let's get our first loading wharf. Now, the cool thing... Actually, I need the exports office. We'll face those inwards, because then we're overlapping the, I guess, space. And nothing actually gets... Like, ships don't need to come in here. You could actually entirely close this area in a closed loop if you want, and nothing... It doesn't need a exit to open water or entry to open water. It can actually be closed. Actually, I have 2 minds about that. I kind of think it should, but you don't need to. So if you really want to be space efficient, you can kind of just close these off if you want. Now, the other interesting thing, we need to get just a little bit more steel. I really should have brought more over. Apologies for that. I'll just get my ship down there. Yeah, well, I'll just teach you about it anyway. You can put down ornaments and stuff as well while we're waiting. But the exports office is interesting. So first of all, those 2 modules have given us now 100% bonus to loading speed. So now we're loading twice as fast as we were, which can obviously be really, really helpful when you're dealing with like vast quantities of goods. And again, it's like building tall within your harbor, because if you want it, you know, it's like having multiple piers if you're just speeding up the loading time. So the Harbor Master office that's built into the Docklands here can list 3 items, but every Harbor Master module that you add, and all modules are the same size, every Harbor Master module that you add gives you 1 extra slot. So then again, you're just stacking everything that's going to be in this big radius here. So let's see, I don't think I can build any modules right now without the steel. Let me just check on what I'm short on as well. So ultimately, a module is going to be costing us 30 bricks, 30 steel, 40 windows. So we're getting,
excellent.
We're getting a little low on windows as well, to be honest. So we'll have to just bring our ship around to get all this stuff. We'll just make multiple
Begin the turn.
routes with that, and hopefully we should be fine. Alright, so I guess right now we should begin to start leveling up something and get him to come by, right? So let's see what we have in excess of, and what I'd like to get. Now, how many sausages do we have here? We have 771, so we're basically full up, right? And we needed to export sausages 702 to actually get the amount of beer. Now, I could do that in one go. So let's list... Well, yeah, what do we want to bring in, actually? Something that we don't have that much. So if you can, let's say I'm at 800 soap, right? We're almost at our limit for how much storage we have here. And if I was to list like, oh yeah, give me, I don't know, 1,000 soap, right? Let's just say we were able to do that, but we couldn't store it. What will happen is they'll trade as much as they can and then go away. They're not going to throw anything overboard or anything like that, or they're not going to wait for you to fix it. They'll basically just come, and if they can't make the deal happen, they'll make it happen as best as they can with as many goods as they can, and then they leave. So if you're trying to hit your quota of selling 1,000 of something, and you don't have the room to store 1,000 of that item, then you're gonna have to. It's gonna take multiple goes, basically. So yeah, I don't really think there's anything else that I need to get that's gonna be that important, really. So we'll just take on soap, I guess. So what I'm looking to do is shift. It's a very specific amount, isn't it? It's 702, and I believe the reason for that is most of these numbers are based off Anno games, Anno numbers. So for instance, you could see like jewelry, like 1 out of 9. You know, 9 is obviously the like Anno number. Trying to find Yeah, there we go. Like 1404 for that. This is 1800. 1800 for them. 2070. And so on. You get the idea. And then some of them are just... All the numbers I think are divisible by 9 as well, which is just, you know... Guys really need to let that go, I think. No, I know it's tradition. So what I'm going to do is just load up a ship with... by the way, Tobias is going to come by every 20 minutes, and he's coming by in 4 minutes to sell... To take in my 702 sausages and give me back 511 soap. Oh, you know what? I just realized. This actually says import. Sorry, not export. I was doing it the wrong way around. So we'll just do it the other way around then. It's totally fine. We'll list the soap to sell and we'll import sausages. So what we want to do is be able to import 702 sausages. I almost made that mistake. So 512 soap will go for 702 sausages. Pretty standard. Obviously, we could probably sell like 5 bits of jewelry for it if we wanted to. Can we try that instead? Although the more goods we sell, the better actually, because we're looking to shift to high volume. So that's actually a good thing, because if we sell 1,000 of something, then we can specialize on it. So we'll sell 512 in 3 minutes. Is that it? 702? Yeah, so let's just fix it there. Now, I can only take this on if I don't have much room in sausages. So we're going to load up a ship with sausages in a second and just either toss it overboard or sell them somewhere. So I'm just going to get some free ships that I have to come up and take that away.
Steer us forth.
Oh, we have one right here. Great. So the steel has arrived. Let's just take away almost all those sausages that we can. It's a consumer good, isn't it? Yep. And I'll just bring it across to this island.
Carry her about.
Yeah, they don't have any. They don't need any either, but just store it there, I guess. Maybe in future they will. And then once our trade contract kind of arrives and we're waiting for that 20-minute cooldown, we'll have a look at some of the ornaments and we'll start to beautify our pier. Where is my beautiful royal ship of the line? It's all the way out here. It's on the way. Alright, cool.
Olio reporting in.
2 minutes. Cutting it quite fine, actually.
On our way.
Let's just drop this stuff off.
Room to maneuver.
And I might just throw the others overboard if I can really quickly. How much time now? 1:45. Okay, we should have time.
Attention for the Admiral.
So, obviously, if you're starting a campaign and you just happen to have this at the, you know, the artisan level, it's much more natural progression. But obviously, because we're in a mid to late game campaign, it's a bit weird the way we're unloading our own docks here just to make sure we can do this. I don't think that's really the intended way it was supposed to work, but it's fine. Alright. Let's just, I don't know, sell this off at Mad and Kahina. I don't like to throw anything overboard, it's a waste. So, how much time do we have now? A minute to go. Great. So, we've got a lot of time, or we have the materials we need to now build loading wharfs and export offices. We built 2 loading wharfs there. The interesting thing with the export office is that it doesn't actually require, like, empty space. So you can kind of do more interesting things with it, I guess. And this is where you could build that kind of closed gap if you wanted to, where we could have something like that. So now it's kind of naturally like joined over there. That ship is not having a good time. And if you want to move this, obviously we can. We could just move it as one big hole, and we could bring it back further if we wanted to as well. So we added 2 exports offices. Oh, I should have done that a little bit quicker than I just have. I'm just going to list anything to sell right now. Unfortunately, we're super full up. Can I get bread yet? What do we need for bread? Nothing. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just try to sell what we can. He's coming here in 11 seconds, so we might as well just list what we got. I don't know. I'm panicking. Alright, there we go. Devil of a deal. Well, let's see what we got. So we'll have to also see where his ship's going to come in. He's coming in from the back of the map. There he is.
Comes a day.
The deep blue.
Find yourself looking at the sea from
And
the shore.
interestingly, he uses something called a world-class reefer. Now, I haven't played enough of the DLC to know, but some people were saying that you can actually get this ship. And apparently it's really good at moving between sessions. I don't know if any of that's true. Nobody's confirmed it for me. I just heard that when I was streaming. And I've never seen it. But there's his ship anyway. It is something different. I mean, it's called a world-class reefer.
Workforce shortage.
So I'm not exactly sure what we can do with that. But anyway, that's going to come around and do its trade. And it takes a while for the trade to actually happen. Although as soon as the timer goes up, it's pretty much locked in as something that has happened. So I'll have to wait for him to get here. So he's arrived into the session and he'll hit multiple islands, all with all different timers. But he comes into a session on the same timer, I believe. Alright, anyway, while we're waiting for him, let's see what else we got. So we have the Harbor Master office, if we want to add more items. So just stick them down there. We have a pier. Don't need a repair crane, I'll probably leave that. So now we have loads of room for extra items. So let's get our harbor activity 20%. Harbor activity 10%. That's really all I have. I need to get better items for our harbors. I never really did much with them. Attractiveness, I'll take it. Now, I don't think we're getting any attractiveness benefit yet because I haven't actually connected it. Oh, a little bit further, I think. Oh no, that's it. Did we get that benefit? Let's see. It'll tell us anyway. Docklands main wharf is adding 225.
In one of your factories.
Man, Lusk is going through a bad time right now.
Broke out.
I'll have to come back here and sort that out. Also, just in case people are wondering, his ship doesn't always come to the Docklands. It'll go to any pier. So he might have gone to a pier that was on this side if he had one. No, we don't have one. Captain Tobias is arriving. Oh, so he's there. He's actually at the main building right now. So if we have a look right now at what's happening, we can now see that we can actually import beer already. So a bunch of things have unlocked for us now to access different companies. And if we were to have a look at some different goods here as well, I know people are probably quite interested. We have things like, let's have a look at some more the rarer kind of items. So you could import hops, even caribou meat if you wanted for the Arctic. Spices, those two things are a bit weird. Sanga meat, obviously for Mbessa. You can get bread directly. Rum, I know is a big one for a lot of people. Canned goods, so you can cut out the entire canned goods chain, which obviously is involved with iron, making iron and all of that. So you can cut out the usage of coal as well as iron ores, smelting. A lot of big stuff could be removed with that. Jewelry, which is a late game thing. Tailored suits and glasses. Again, many chains involved with specialty glasses. For Kinsa Mining, the Mining Corp, we could actually get your own iron and coal and extra iron brought in should you wish. So that's what we'll probably do down in Lusk, considering it is a manufacturing island.
Many lives saved.
Raw steel, gold. I actually buy gold from the pirates, so I'm okay there. But pearls, things that are based on fertilities, which is quite good. Coffee, that's a massive one for a lot of people. Chocolate, cigars, sewing machines, tapestries as well, which is kind of an interesting one. Caoutchouc, which I've been actually struggling with, although I have fixed it for now. Light bulbs, steam carriages, gramophones, and pocket watches, and penny farthings, which actually has a standard exchange ratio, which is also a pretty good one. So if we were to current leading items, soap, reach a certain export. So this was where I got it wrong way around. Remember before it said import, this time it says export. 1,000. Oh no, it's actually just showing me. It says export 1,701 of any good, but the current leading item is soap because we just shifted a bunch of it just now. So it's kind of interesting how you can get into these different companies. So it's quite cool. If you were to get this at the artisan level, at 250 artisans, much more natural progression to kind of work at something and like build it up. Late game, it's a little less interesting to do it this way, but it's still, I mean, it seems really powerful what you can do, like I said, with removing entire production chains. So he's departing only now. He does take a while to come and go. I'd say almost in total, you can expect it to be 25 minutes, maybe even 30 when it's all said and done. Obviously, with the loading speed buff, you can speed him up even further.
The epidemic left buildings abandoned.
I'm just going to check this really quickly because I'm kind of curious about what happened here. There's an epidemic here. I don't know why there would be, but they shouldn't ever really run out of coal. Yeah, they've got loads. I guess it's just a bad sickness? I don't know. Anyway, they're all fine. In the next episode, I'll talk about what I've done in the Arctic a bit more. I've actually got it pretty much set up and ready to go so we can build up here now and get the gas. So we'll be doing that in the next episode or maybe at the end of this one, depending how things go. Alright, anyways, so this is what we got for our, our Docklands so far. Excuse me, let me just take a quick drink. So some of the newest things would be the fact that as part of the free update, I believe, you can now build streets out on the water. So if you wanted to, you could also then do something like this. And make use of your space a bit better, you know, by having it staggered along a road, for instance. So we could just test that out, right? So again, it's just kind of nice for helping with space efficiency. I think the road part is part of the free update. I don't think it's actually a requirement or anything. I don't know why that's staying there. I don't know if it's a bug or not. That's part of Let me just get rid of it. Don't know if it was blocking me or not. I'm probably just not far enough up or something, because or that little thing is blocking it. I'm not too sure. Let's see. All right, let's try this again. No, it still doesn't work. Well, it works that way, so you get the idea. It definitely would work. I think it's just being blocked by this. I mean, I'll just try one more thing really quickly just to see. I'm pretty sure I've done it before. I wouldn't want to give any incorrect information out there. There we go.
Our beautiful friendship cake.
So that works just fine, and you can connect both of them like that, and then you can have like a warehouse, I don't know, somewhere there, right? And you're saving a lot of space because you can basically fit way more along a very narrow coast if you build far out.
Why so mean?
Because you're not very helpful, Venti. That's why. All right. Is that pretty much everything? I mean, that's pretty much everything, except for then, obviously, the Docklands Ornaments. So one of my favorite ornaments is now the fact that you get your own lighthouse. So typically, all the AI kind of have a lighthouse that looks like this. This is a nice lighthouse, nothing against it. But I love the look of this one. This is the Pale Lighthouse. What's kind of nice about this is these all work in the New World as well. So you don't have to just be limited to just here. You can dress up your New World and make it look a little bit nicer. So one example of this that I'm going to test out, I'm going to get rid of these. And I'm going to get rid of this area here. I'm just going to shift this along just a smidge. I'm going to test something. Let's draw a line out to our lighthouse. And we can experiment with some of these things. So, what I'm looking at doing is having something like the seaside benches. I want them to kind of like look at all the ships coming in. Some of them are sideways. That's okay. Okay. Now, obviously, people who are very space sensitive probably feel like this is a bit of a waste. But I think it looks nice. For those who want to beautify, it's great. And as well as that, you've also got like lampposts. So we could do something like this. Or we could stagger it a bit different, but you get the idea. I think it looks kind of cool. So people can kind of watch the ships as they come into the main kind of harbor area. Or you could focus it around the other way. So, yeah. So some of the ornaments are pretty cool. Pretty flexible. You may have noticed in the trailer that you can have like bridges and stuff. Now, these are actually a little, I thought it was a little deceptive in a way. Not that it really matters. I don't think anyone's purchasing decisions were based on it, but you can either, the bridge doesn't open. It's either open or closed, right? And it doesn't connect like a road does. So you don't have a bridge that will connect to something and it doesn't like work as a road. I would love it if it worked as a road. I think that would be so nice if they could just do that, but it counts as an ornament, so it doesn't actually work as a road. The other thing is that you actually can't place them where these need their harbor space, which I also find a little annoying. It's like, well, these would look really good in between here, but you can't really fit them there. So you kind of have to use the modules that don't need the harbor space, which again is just a little frustrating, I find. But they're kind of like nitpicky things, I suppose. But I think it's relevant nevertheless. Anyway, we can have a look at some of the other ornaments. So we have like a warehouse. We have kind of these kind of pulleys and repair cranes, harbor cranes, things like that. We have a loaded barge, which actually is the only ornament I think that just stays in the water. You can't put it on land. Resting rowboats, different types of them. What's this one called? Dry dock skiffs. fish traps, things like that. Now we've just got barrels and trees, material stacks, crates of goods. So basically, you know, you can pretty much see from here exactly what they are. Definitely makes your docks feel a lot more alive, although space is so constrained, I feel like not many people would probably use a lot of these. But, I don't know. I'll find a way to make them work. So this is what we've got so far. I'm thinking of just moving this. Let's try to stagger it a bit. Something like that. And we'll just turn these so they face in. Cool. That music playing, by the way, is a new song for the game that's been added with this DLC. Whoa, what's after happening? Oh, I disconnected my oh my god. I didn't even notice that. Oh god. Well, they're okay now. Whoops.
Means a lot to Arn.
Ah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, anyways, so what I plan on doing here is just to make it look a little bit nicer.
Here is a vital matter of queen and country.
Unfortunately, I don't really have time. But what's that? It's kind of tempting, but no.
Now, you oughtn't waste people's time.
Right, I think this will look pretty cool. I've got an idea. And let's just get rid of a lot of this here. I want some of the beach available to us, because we're gonna have our kind of boats and skiffs ready to kind of like come down. So let's push this a bit back further. There we go. And we'll just connect that back up so we get the attractiveness benefit. And this is just the regular road, by the way. Also, I've noticed it's kind of a nice thing, part of the update. I've noticed that, for instance, if you have Bright Harvest and you look at these ornaments or any of the walls, wall ornaments, different fencing and wall ornaments now just have like one thing, and it'll dynamically know where the endpoint is. You know what I mean? You don't have to have the wall end as a separate ornament. It just knows. So that's such a nice little quality of life improvement, you know? So there's a few things that you can see they're laying foundations for ornaments to get a bit better later on. They said that they plan on, I think in a couple of updates time with one of the other DLCs, maybe tourism or something, that the game will get a free update where you might be able to change the base of the ornament, so you can change it to grass or whatever else. And I've noticed that already with things like the light bulbs or the lampposts. You can see that when you hover over it, it's only the lamppost. It's not the square. So I'm starting to notice that they're working on that now in future, so that the base seems to be separate almost. So good stuff all around. Right, so my idea here is basically that now we could put down something like this thing here. Alright, so it looks a bit more natural. I think I'll just shift this over one spot to the right. And then we'll just add in some harbor. Something like that. And obviously then we could just put ornaments on it if we wanted to maybe make it look even nicer or do something else with it. Like we could have cargo stacks. Yeah, I'll just shift it one more time over. There we go. That's a very small pile of barrels. Thought it was like way bigger than that. Let's see, what else could we get? A moored freighter. Oh yeah, I love this one. Actually, sorry that I didn't show you this one. We could definitely use this somewhere else, but you can basically have a little thing sticking out in the water. It comes with its own bit of pier built in, I guess. And then the other version of it is just like the other way around, like sideways, kind of like that. So they're really cool. I just think they look nice. And then of course there's this thing as well for people to come chill at. In fact, I might have that by the bottom of the lighthouse. That'd probably make the most sense out here. Maybe it would make more sense there. Kind of. One thing I wish I could do is make that more square to match this side, but... oh, what can you do? Nothing's ever perfect. But it's alright. Anyway, I love to look at the lighthouse. We should check it out at nighttime as well. There we go. And there's people up on top of it, usually. Yeah, there he is. Keeping an eye on things. Pretty awesome. And you generally just have a lot more life in your harbors now as well, as boats kind of come and go into these areas, and you can see them loading and unloading things. Of course, you can also walk around. In fact, I would say, though... hey, how's it going? Space is a little tight. You actually can't walk up there, but if you create piers and stuff, you can typically walk around and in and around behind them and things. Yeah, it's a little tight, unfortunately. Let's take a walk along our new pier. Our new main attraction. Alright, there we go. Looks good. Looks good. Oh, there's a fellow artisan sitting here. Hello. What's on the menu? There's definitely something there, but it looks like it's reversed. Main dishes, it says in the middle, but it's backwards. Ah, they just... are you telling me that some artist copy and pasted half of the building backwards or something on the other side of it? Entrees and main dishes. And then what's for lunch? I have no idea. You guys can let me know in the comments. Alright, let's hop back out. Let's have a look at when he's coming next. It should be not too long from now, actually. We should have a look at what we're going to be selling. So, he's going to be here in 8 minutes. Let's just clear the board, as it were. We want to start bringing in beer. Now, I had kind of worked this out before on stream, because this is what I thought would be kind of fun to do, is see how much can we get for beer. So let's say I'm going to bring in beer. Excuse me. I want to bring beer in, and I know that I've got way too much champagne. So I actually can't remember the amounts I was dealing with before, but we're going to test and work out how much we're making. Now, I think it would be nice if the statistics screen helped you out with this a bit, but it kind of doesn't all the way. So if we go to consumer goods and we have a look at beer, we are producing 9 tons per minute. And some of that is going off to the New World. We're consuming, on this island, 5. So let's just say we want to match our production, 9 per minute. I'm just going to break out my little calculator here for a sec. So that's 9 per minute. So 9 times 20, because he comes every 20 minutes, is 180. And just for that little bit of a buffer, because he does take a while, we could say 200, right? We want to bring in 200 every 20 minutes. That's basically what we're making. So I'm going to
It's like a prison
put my money where my mouth is and shut that all down. Shut it down. Shut down the malt.
The governor's here.
Shut down the beer production. And we'll shut down the hops as well, which comes over from this island.
Busy season.
All of that's just been freed up, right?
I have you down as a worry.
So now we need to bring in champagne instead, right? As an exchange. So we know that we want 200 coming in. The exchange rate means we need to provide them with 144 champagne. So the question is, can we sustain 144 every 20 minutes? You know, can we reliably give Captain Tobias and the companies or whatever 144 champagne? So let's find out. So the only way to figure that one out is the same method we just used. I know that we make champagne on Lusk, and it's imported into here, and we're producing 4 per minute. And we're also consuming some, so you got to think about that. So let's just toggle back on swords. We go down to champagne. All right, so we're basically only producing 1 extra per minute. 1 ton per minute that we can actually reliably give away. And that would be just, 20, basically. So we need more. So we'll probably just get 2 lots of that building. So down here is where our champagne will go. Let's just fix these buildings real quick. So our champagne building is right here.
The finishing touches.
I know already that I've got plenty of glass and grapes, so I don't have to worry about that. But we'll get a second load of champagne there. Now, that champagne should mean that we're now making 8 per minute. Which means we're making 5 in total. So 5 times 20. It's obviously 100. And we need to provide 144. So it's actually a little bit lower than where we'd like it to be. But we'll leave it like that for now. I know that I'll have to come back to that. But that's how you can basically work out how one chain can replace the other.
See? Turned out good for both of them.
So it's a bit of a, you know, you got to actually do a little bit of math on your own. It's not all done for you in the statistics screen. But basically, this means that now, roughly speaking, we're probably about 30 champagne short of where we need to be to make that deal sustainable. But for a very long time, at least now, for at least 5 hours, I'd say, maybe a little bit less, maybe about 3 hours, we'll be able to just completely turn off our beer production and just have it work like this. And if we just set up another one of these, we're definitely fine then, like definitely. And fine to even grow a little bit. So we'll just leave that as it is, right? So we're always going to be selling 144 champagne, and we're always going to be getting back 200 beer, and that's going to replace our beer production. The next thing we can do, so I don't have anything else planned beyond that. That was the one main thing I kind of wanted to show. Now I'm just going to wing it and see what else we could possibly get rid of. Bente Jorgensen and Arthur Gasparov are now at war. Oh, I didn't realize they got ceasefire.
Has ended.
So yeah, the other one you could try is, how can we just get something like rum? Because I know I have an excess of pocket watches, and obviously pocket watches are kind of complex. So let's see if we can bring in rum instead of having to make it so much. Coffee is actually pretty sustainable. How would we import coffee? And how do we get rum? Let's have a look at rum. Coffee requires us selling chocolate. Need to find the company that does rum. There it is. So that's going to require us to have active export and import contracts. Wow. You need 18. That's going to take a long time for us to get to that. So right now we've only got 3. So you need
impeccable timing as always.
Worst case scenario. You would need, I mean, you can't even get that many modules. You'd have to have multiple Docklands, I guess, to do that. It seems. Yeah, because we have 2 export offices. That's giving us... You always have 1, right? So our 2 offices are giving us 2 more modules. So how many... Oh, I guess not, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 4 there. 6, 7 there. 9, 10, 11. So you could have 11 in total. There's a battle going on outside.
Battle cruiser ready.
Hey, we got some rum. So yeah, it sounds like if you want to get that up and running, rum that is, and bring it in, you would have to go
I want to look
and
after
have multiple Docklands, right? Seems like that way anyway. All right, what else could we bring in then, or start working on? Let's have a look. Caribou import export 1 out of 5. We've only got 2 minutes to go, because I feel like I don't really need anything at the moment. But it's all about like what do you want to bring in and then remove. Well, we're working on selling our soap, so let's just go back to that then. Go back to basics. And if we bring it to 1,000, then obviously we can get even more for it. And we do overproduce soap, actually, which is good. So I'm not too concerned about how much we get rid of. Yeah, a lot of these things need 1,800 soap before you can even start to work at them. So I guess we'll just list a few hundred soap and see if we can bring something else in as well. I don't know what else we could bring in, though. I guess what you could do is lessen the amount. If I know that I can only sell 100 champagne, that's 139 beer. I need something that can get me the rest of the other 60. And we can list 2 things. There's no problem doing that. So something like that. And that contract works for now. Let's go 61. And we could do something else as well. Do another thing for the same sort of deal. So let's begin with pocket watches actually as well, and let's get beer. We'll just bring in a boatload of beer, because why not? Let's get 400 brought in. So we're going to be bringing in 500 or 600 in total. So all about bringing in beer. And you've also got your trade history here, so you can see kind of what you've sold before. Surprised it doesn't tell me the trade history I had before that, but I think it's when you change the goods around, it stops telling you, I think. Alright, we'll leave that as is. Any more things? We have room for cranes. Are any ships waiting? Not really, but we've also got room for 2 more piers. So I'll just pop another pier there for now. I will say that the ships seem to be like too big for the the actual docklands that you have. All right, so anyway, I was going to work on this area over here as an idea of what we could do. And basically just get something like, yeah, materials, anything like that's like a big, bulky... this is a little bit longer than it is wide, that's why. Right. So those two areas are like connected now. And then what we could do out here, maybe... I want to kind of have the beach available. So something like this. And then this area is going to be kind of like where they... I don't know what it's called. Like where you go off the ramp, you know, with your boats. Where people like go off with their boats into the water. Can't think of what like that's called. So yeah, over here I want to have like these kind of things, the rowboats, because these would be the things that would be leaving this area and going into the sea. Alright, cool. Something like that, and we'll just fill this in. I'll probably clean this up in a time-lapse a little later in another episode or something, but this is just the basic idea for now. And let's just, yeah, let's clean all this up, make this dock completely new.
Will you ever meet my standard?
Probably not. Probably not, actually. His standards are quite high. So we have resting rowboats, and then we have shelved rowboats.
If I see another biscuit.
Alright. That's basically the idea here. So, yeah, we've only got those two dry dock skiffs. Yes. Can't bring it up any further. This is where the docks ends. You can see the road type changes. So this is why I'll have to work on this area a little bit in future. So yeah, something like that I think kind of looks good. Just about.
If I see another biscuit.
Let's just connect this up.
Get some rest. It's going to be a long voyage.
There we are, all better.
I'm still figuring things out. Just a little bit. Alright. Anyway, did he come along? He should have been here by now. He's departing. Nice, so he's actually just left. So he's done his thing. So that should be... Let's have a look at what we're at now. So we brought in 671. How much of this have we sold in total? We've sold 728. So once we get to 1,000, if we sell like another batch of it, another, I don't know, you know, just about 300, 270, we'll finally get a specialty slot, which will give us access to 2 more depots, a pier, export office, loading wharf. So we've now shifted, let's check on champagne, 100 champagne and 120 pocket watches. So these are the kind of, things that are going to take a while to build up. Or we could just try to really bring in a huge amount of something at once, right? I could sell 700 pocket watches right now. as long as I have the room to take in something, and then I could just load that up on a boat and sell it at one of the traders or something like that. So that's how you can make some money doing it. You don't have to always just get something that you can use.
Cargo boat at the ready.
Oh, you can actually sell by clicking now. That's nice. I don't know. I feel like you couldn't do that before.
Barrier about.
Maybe you could. I know you could unload things at your docks that way. I didn't think you'd actually sell things. But yeah, so what I'd like to do then is obviously extend this out this way then, with several modules as well. So we've got 2 more depots. So let's just get rid of some of these ornaments that we have here. We're just a bit short on steel, so that ship that's moving can just go back down and get that steel.
Room to maneuver.
Alrighty, so if we take a look now and see how it's see how it's looking overall. Let's also grab some of these. I think these would look quite nice here. Just as ornaments for people watching people like going off into the water. I'll probably redesign this just a little bit. I feel like on stream I did this kind of thing and it looked a little bit nicer. I think I just used the beach a little bit better further back. But you get the idea, right? I want a general area where it looks like, yeah, they come off into the ocean, they go out this way then. And then this can just be built out this way, alongside. And yeah, so that's basically Docklands, I guess. And this thing I'll just always keep in front. You always bring these out almost as far as they can go and have like the modules press up. Because you could just slam it in here. No reason not to. If you want to be a bit more space efficient. There we go. And with our loading speed of basically, you know, double what it was, having these 2 counts for 4, and we have this one now. So all those piers we removed at the beginning, you see that like there's no ships waiting. Everything's moving just fine. So it really is a great way to build like taller within. You know what would be awesome if I could import as construction material? I always run out of it. It's just me though. I know I'm crazy that way. So yeah, so let's see what I could sell as one big bulk item. For instance, I've got too many glasses as well. I feel like we could specialize in that almost. What you'd really want to do is check your consumption and see like what am I really making too much of. We'll just put on Lusk as well. Steam carriages, gramophones, like all that really high tier stuff. Pocket watches, we're making about 1 ton more per minute than we need. Glasses the same. Fur is ridiculous. Does this go anywhere else, fur? Why do I have so much? I don't remember having this much fur. I'm trying to think, does it go to like... I don't think it goes anywhere else, right? It doesn't go to like Ambassa or the Arctic or anything. You think fur coats would, actually, thinking about it, but they don't, from what I know. And I don't think the New World would have any need for them. So yeah, we could be like specialized in moving fur coats for whatever reason. I've like doubled the amount we need. Canned goods as well. Soap, for instance, is like, yeah, we're way overproducing soap, which is good. Although actually, if we toggled on a few other islands, if I toggled on all my old world islands, then I think the true value... Oh, we still have more...
A competitor's island is under siege.
Yeah, maybe I'll specialize in that. It's kind of a fun one. So let's get... Well, I want the soap to stay there. To be honest, I kind of want all of these to stay there, but we have to wait until we can get another contract. Another export office. So yeah. Exchange ratio 1.0. So this is shifted... So 369. What we're going to do as well, let's get our ship down here. This will be the last contract we do. I was just going to pick up all the soap I can. As well as, I guess, what do we need? Steel again, was it?
Bring her around.
Yeah, just steel. Alright, cool, and then we get even more storage. And that storage is now up to 1,000, so we've increased our storage by quite a bit. Oh, that's weird. I guess these things, what are they? They're the export offices. They have, like, the lights on top. So they do look a little bit different. I look forward to seeing what people think of it in the comments. I really like it. I genuinely really like it. The only things I worry about, I'm not a min-maxer, but I just feel like it might be too powerful. The way you could just destroy economies. Like, I feel like people are just gonna... Because what you could do, especially if you've got multiple of them up and running, you could like have one place that's like importing a certain amount of something, and then you're sending it to the other island and importing that, like selling that off, and like having them work together in tandem to just like level everything up and specialize. So I don't know. I'm sure there's like loops that people can create that would make this really, really powerful. But thinking about it, let's set up the other one just really quickly while we have a little bit of time left down here. Because this is our production island. This is definitely going to need it in future. So the Dockland main wharf, there it is. We'll just slam it down. And we need the import office, the exports office even. And we're short on bricks here. Oh my god.
Battle Path 6.
Have to pick them up as well. God damn. I normally have a construction route that just delivers everything, but I'm building way more than I normally do. So let's see, bricks was it? Yeah, I'll just sail those bricks down, I guess.
Pumping smoke, Admiral.
But yeah, so essentially down here, this would be the perfect place for it, because we are overproducing things all the time here in this production island. So we can definitely, like the fur, for instance, that we're producing is like right here. So this would be a perfect place just to let that tick up in the background, give us some exports, specialize it, make the value even higher. And then we could bring in something like the ores, right? Because this place is heavy on the smelting and everything. Or
the island seized.
or we could also like then help bring in something that we could use here, like
the island seized.
Grapes or glass. Actually, we don't need grapes, but glass might be something that we start running out of. So maybe the quartz sand, because we're gonna probably get a little tight on the actual coast. So what we could do down here is probably a bit more of a min-maxy thing, right? We could build out some sort of key, have our different sand mines all kind of laid up a bit nicely on it, on, you know, jutting out either side of this like road, for instance, left and right, making way more use of like the sand mines that we could possibly get here. And that way we could then smelt more glass and specialize in our champagne so that we never need... I don't know, how many workers are we really getting rid of? Quite a lot, I think. If we were to turn all of this back on... It's 52 people in each one. So that's 200 workforce right there.
Hide the bottle, it's the boss.
Then it's another 100 for all the malt. So that's 300 workers we're saving on. Then it is... What was it over here?
Wake me up when you're ready.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 120, 140, 160, 180, 200 villagers. So we're freeing up 200 farmers and 300 workers, and we're using, at the moment anyway, just one extra 150 artisans, which is totally fine, because I have too many artisans, really, because we don't really use them that much. So yeah, I could just get another one of these buildings. And that should be us totally set for beer for a very long time. So that's kind of the idea, I guess. Let's just get back for a real quick minute. Just making sure we deliver that soap. We'll just get that other dock built. And I'll probably try to build a little bit more intricately here. I think the one I did on stream was a little bit better. Don't know if I've... No, I don't have any saves or anything from it anymore. But essentially, yeah, it was like kind of a bit more snaky, I guess. And then we'd have all the piers were kind of out at the end, and it looks quite nice. It looks quite nice. And then we had our sand like area where you kind of come off, and then this lovely pier that leads up to here. Oh, the very last thing I forgot to show.
Taken with a pinch of salt.
In the new world, you can put down these ornaments as well, like I said. But there's also just like a bit more life to the area. I've noticed like tourism sailboats and stuff. Yeah, like these. They definitely weren't there before. I'm super sure of it. So that's just kind of cool as well. You just have a bit more life to your docks in different places. And obviously these like seats would look really good now.
Our cruise was just as full as last time.
There we go. You know? So I think it looks good. I do wish the, this has been really picky, I guess. And maybe they'll change it when they update things. But, like these trees... I wish using the ornament here would use the kind of palm trees, and that way you could have like a really nice looking dock as well here. But yeah, I think that'll have to be it for this episode. In the next episode, we'll still do more with the docks, but while we're doing that, I'm actually going to be back in the Arctic, and stabilizing this area finally. So I've actually worked a very long time on reorganizing all of this, and I have all the footage. So I'll time-lapse it at the beginning of the next episode, or somewhere in the middle of the next episode maybe, so you can see what I've done, and I'll talk through it about why I've done it. Then I'm hoping we can finally get gas up and running. All this place now needs, because I've got all the production chains sorted, and I'll talk it all through in the next episode. I just think for Docklands, it's a special occasion. We should be focusing on that right away. But yeah, all I need to do now is basically just set up something like 30 or 40 houses, upgrade them, make sure they're all technicians, and then we're good to go and start getting our gas for the first time. And we'll talk about that, like I said, in the next episode. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Alright, so that's going to be it for my episode of the Docklands. Hopefully I answered most of your questions. If people do still have questions, I'm sure you can look it up on... I should have actually a full review video that goes up on my channel. On my other channel sometime soon, Republic of Play. It should be around the same day, but knowing me, I'm always a little bit late, so if it's not up already, it'll be up hopefully fairly soon. I'll talk through all of the features in a bit more of a succinct manner, and do a bit more of a review style thing. And push it into the water. Okay. Alright, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys very much for watching. Remember to give the video a like. This is kind of a special one, so if this one could go a little further, that'd be great. Who knows? Some people might be looking up Docklands and might find it for the first time and be interested in seeing what it's all about. Thanks for all the support on the series so far. I hope you enjoyed this look at the DLC, and thanks to Ubisoft for sending it to me. I did get it early to be able to record this episode, basically a day in advance, so I appreciate that a lot. So thank you to Ubisoft, and thanks to all of you guys who make it possible for me to be able to get stuff early and talk you through it, and hopefully entertain you. Alright, so for those who don't know, and if you made it this far, you probably do know, but if you don't, episodes are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. So I'll see you on Thursday. Goodbye. Hey guys, thank you very much for watching, and remember, if you want to support this series directly, you can click the join button to become a channel member. Doing so will get your name in the credits, as well as loyalty badges and emotes to use in the comments. If you don't see the join button, it means the video is being copyright claimed, but you can still join from the channel page on desktop. You can also link your account to our Discord to get a special role on there that'll give you access to the Senate House and a few other perks.